Joining me now is Walid Phares, the Fox News national security and foreign affairs analyst. Good to see you.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for having me.
Iran this week has become the target that North Korea was last year. I want to talk to you about both countries. Let's start with Iran. Christina was reporting that Theresa May and some others at the United Nations this week are speaking with Iran. They want to stay in the Iran nuclear accord. Is the U.S. being isolated right now?
I don't think we are isolated. I think that Brussels, the European bureaucracy, wants to project the image that we're all on board for the deal and only the administration, not just the United States, is isolated. In fact, reality is that while Brussels, the capital of the European Union, maintains its policy of staying in the agreement, companies, European companies, are quitting. And that's what really counts at the end of the day. There are much more divisions within Europe with regard to that matter. In addition, we have with us the Gulf, the Arab countries, the Arab alliance. And on top of that, soon enough, in Latin America and Asia, we have more countries lining with us.
Well, the Trump administration says we're going to impose sanctions on Iran once again, and we're going to double down on those sanctions, more sanctions to come. Now we have some of these European leaders talking about a way to get around the sanctions. Do you see that happening? And why would they want to go against the U.S. with something like that when it comes to the economy?
Again, these bureaucracies have committed themselves. They have signed a document. They have a lot of influence behind that, a lot of interest. But as I said earlier, they are being surprised now by the fact that the largest companies are actually quitting. But there is another reason. Iran had convinced the Europeans that Iran can help them against Al-Qaeda and ISIS, which was a big mistake to believe is the case, because when we are defeating ISIS, the Iranian militias are coming in. So we need to do a lot of explanations for the European public opinion.
North Korea, Secretary of State Pompeo going to set up a second summit, if you will, between Kim Jong-un and President Trump. Is that a good idea?
It's a good idea. Look, on the North Korea track, we are moving forward. It's not going to be an overnight matter. Really, what indicates to me that things are changing are the meetings between the North and the South. It's extremely important. Second, we and China have an interest, a common interest, that North Korea will relinquish gradually its nuclear powers, because China is becoming now an economic power. They don't want wars, especially very close to their borders.
Absolutely. Let's pivot finally to Israel, because the president did have a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu today. Watch.
There's nothing I would rather do than see peace between Israel and the Palestinians. I think lots of good things are happening. I like two-state solution. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think works best. I don't even have to speak to anybody. That's my feeling. Now, you may have a different feeling. I don't think so, but I think two-state solution works best.
Yeah, and he also promised peace in the Middle East. Is that possible?
It is possible. I'm glad that the president mentioned two-state solution, because that would rally back to his position the Arab coalition and segments of the Palestinians. But the real problem is not even the Arabs or the Palestinians. It's really Iran, because Iran controls Hamas, and Hamas is basically the spoiler of this peace process.
Which is likely why Iran was the target by President Trump at the United Nations.
Right.
Walid Phares, thank you very much.